What is going on, guys and gals? Bringing you another video here on the consistency of investing. And this is really how you become wealthy over time. A lot of people don't realize this. They get into investing and they just think they're going to become rich overnight. I know that happened to me. In 2017, I got into the crypto market and I made all sorts of money. I thought it was just going to be up and to the right forever. I got into real estate probably back in 2004. I made several hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then I ended up giving a lot of the money back to that market, and because I didn't have like a long-term consistent mindset, and that was a big problem. Most people do that. They get into investing and they're just like, I'm going to knock it out of the park. This market is super hot, be it the crypto market, real estate market, stock market. And then they're buying when everybody else is buying and they get absolutely annihilated. And so I'm going to share some stories here about what you can do to really make some nice passive income, but you've got to build the stack up first. You can't just like get in and it's like, okay, I want to start making passive income today off $10,000. Okay. In a raging hot bull market, crypto bull market, you can do it. There was months where I was doubling my money every month. I'm not going to lie. When it's flat or a bear market, and I'm not saying that it's flat right now. I actually think we're in a bull market right now, meaning up and to the right. I really believe that that's the time to just be accumulating, setting yourself up, learning, getting better at investing. So my first example here of staying consistent, having like that long-term mindset when investing is this property that I bought here in Dana Point, California. I actually lived here, okay? It was owner occupied. And you can see here, I bought it back on December 29th, 2004, okay? So I would have been coming up on like 9 years on it. I had a little bit of PTSD because of the losses that I took from the 2008 housing crisis. But I bought it in 2014 and I bought it for $690,000 and I was able to negotiate it down. They started off at $719 and then they changed it to $699 and then I ended up getting it for $690. Inevitably, 2 years later, 2 years and 1 day, and there's a reason I did that for tax purposes, I sold it for $825,000. And I walked away thinking I was the smartest person in the world. The problem was that I sold it, I was thinking short term. And see, I actually was making pretty decent money at that point in time. And I had a big chunk of money come in. It was about, I want to say $600,000, $700,000 from a bonus that I got. In all reality, I probably could have paid off a big chunk of this and had a very, 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 very small mortgage and then probably paid the rest off. It would have been 9 years this December that I would have owned this house, and I could have easily paid it off had I have been consistent. There's a book that if you want to talk about consistency and what that consistency does, like if you compound that consistency, it's called Atomic Habits. In Atomic Habits, they just talk about like, don't try to knock it out of the park, just 1% per day. 1% per day is 365% per year. I ended up selling it. I leveraged people's money, but right now, and this is probably down because, you can see here, it's like right now the market is actually down, but even with the down, that home value would have been worth $1.43 million. And let's see what that actually equates to here in terms of a return. Now, I still wouldn't have sold it, even if it was 1.439 million, but like, let's say if I would have just hung in there. With this, I would have walked away with $749,000 had I have had a 10-year or close to 10-year horizon. And that's huge because, this is growing basically tax-free. I would have still had to have paid some taxes on it because I think there's a tax exclusion if you live in it for more than 2 years. You don't have to pay taxes on $250,000, okay, of that. So I probably would have had to pay long-term capital gains, which would have been like, let's say 15% on roughly about 500,000 of the dollars. But here's where I would have been looking. The rent. I actually know some people that are renting similar type houses here. I would have been able to probably rent that for $6,000. So think about it this way. I would have had $6,000 clean dollars. And where I live right now, I live off basically $5,500. So my entire life would be paid for with this, and 100% of my salary would go towards investing. And right now, a lot of what I make definitely goes into investing. My overhead is relatively low for somebody who has a family, but a lot of my money goes back into my investing. But that would be basically an additional $6,000 that I could put towards investing right now, or $5,500, because that's what $5,500 to $6,000 depends on the month. That's a lot of money. Okay, let me give you another example though here as well. So I got in to Bitcoin in July of 2017. So like right around here, okay? Now let's do some measuring, okay? So I was buying, selling, going all crazy. I ended up buying Bitcoin at around $2,600. And I have held my Bitcoin all the way to the peak of the last bull market. I would have been up 24x. But see, I did a lot of buying and selling, and I did a lot of holding here, okay? And actually from here, down here, which was the last time I got in. But even if we were to go from here to where we're at today, which Bitcoin is not back up to its all-time highs, I'd be up 16x. 16x. Now, let's do the math on what 16x looks like in terms of growth. So I put in about $40,000 into crypto. If we would go up by 16x times 16, that's $640,000. Ethereum is kind of the same thing. We'll break it down. Look at this. So when did I get into Ethereum? Around the same time. So back here, if we would have gone from here to where it's at right now, more or less 660% gain. Okay, so Ethereum moves much quicker up, but it also moves much quicker down because it is a smaller. But let's say at the all-time high, we'd be at a 14x. Okay, now here's where the kicker is, and this is what I teach people. Okay, this is what's called liquidity providing. So I can actually provide my Bitcoin and my Ethereum so people could trade peer-to-peer. Now, right now, and this is on Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange. So this is all being done on the blockchain, guys and gals. And this is just a skill that you have to use. And by the way, if you want to learn this skill, check out the link below. I've got a video for you that explains and breaks this all down for you. But look at this. 33.69% right now. I've seen this as high in the like hundreds, 200% range when the bull market starts get going. All right. And this is where you really start to amass some money, because now I've got 33% more in Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, every single year growing by that. So not only am I getting that growth, but I'm also getting a third more. Okay, and I think if you compound that, 33% per year, it doubles by the second year. Instead of just having one Bitcoin in 2 years, assuming that this holds, and it could go up and it could go down. I think it's going to actually go up because we're headed into a bull market right now. I end up with double the amount of Bitcoin. So if I put one Bitcoin in, I end up with 2 in 1 year or 2 years or whatever it ends up being, right? And this is what we teach. Now, here's the cool part. So here, if you come to Fraxlend, you can bring your earnings and your gains over here. And look, on Bitcoin, you're making, to lend it, 5.5%. So if you just let it sit there and lend it, you're making 5.5%. But if you want to borrow against it, you just pay 6.225%, and you're taking withdrawals against your Bitcoin tax-free. Now, you have to learn how to do this because you can get liquidated, and there's all sorts of other risks with this. But also your Ethereum. Look at what they're paying on Ethereum. 3.91% if you want to just put your money in there, and 4.552% on your Ethereum, okay? And you can even put your staked Frax ETH, so this ends up actually being closer to like 7 or 8% if you don't take any withdrawals against this. But if you want to, you can. Again, guys, gals, this is the big thing. This is the big thing about Ethereum, about Bitcoin, where when you start thinking long term, that's where you start to make some real money. Now, I'm really focused on not going after all these degen plays, the fast and furious plays. What I'm working on right now is I do have some things that I did buy along the way, some different cryptos like Ethereum. But take a look at Ethereum. I bought it really low market cap. Look at this, $2.4 million. That's it. This thing could surge into the billions, and you could be not a billionaire, but a millionaire, multimillionaire off of just these cryptos. So you see here, but just in 1 year, I'm up 89%, and this has been during one of the toughest bear markets in crypto history, and we've got an 89% gain. In the last 30 days, 53.6%. But look at what I did. And by the way, I actually did this, and I was making more percentage-wise. It's just the volume is down. Right now, if you were to couple this with Ethereum, so anytime somebody goes to trade between Ethereum and Ethereum, you're earning 149% annualized per year. Now, this isn't fixed. This is a variable. It could go up, it could go down. There was times where I'm making way more than that. There was times where I was making way less. But all in all, within 6 months, I doubled the amount of Ethereum and the amount of Ethereum that I had. It felt good. And now I'm just basically holding this crypto. I'm waiting for the game to launch. And I know it's going to do really, really, really well once it does. Okay. And hopefully I'll have, $3-4 million from this coin alone. And then this coin, I think I maybe invested about $5,000, but I earned fees. And now I took out actually all those fees, and I'm sitting on $4,000 worth of Ethereum. And I think I cashed out a little extra as well. I talked about Alluvium. Right now I'm buying blue chip stuff, and I'm not trying to like buy this and buy that, but I'm researching the stuff that I'm buying, guys, because I want that long-term view. I don't want something that I'm just flipping real fast. Maybe I'll do it a little bit, but I'm spending like $500, maybe $1,000 maximum on trades like that, on just like in and out. But it's not my focus, and it's not part of my plan. So here's where I'm getting at. The longer your time horizon, the better off you're going to be. Imagine, again, going back here with Bitcoin, if I would have had that long-term horizon, and I had like lots of Bitcoin. I think at one point in time I had, 10 Bitcoin or something like that. I even got the Bitcoin Cash fork, which gave me an extra $5,000-$6,000 worth of crypto that got airdropped to me. Think long term, and then don't think you're going to get rich overnight. Think 1% per day, and I promise you guys, you will reap the reward one day. And don't buy shit coins either, okay? Research them. Find out who's using them. Are there developers developing on the blockchain? Those are the sorts of things that I look for, that I teach my students. Which, by the way, again, the link is in the description. If you found this video useful, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's see you on the next one. Cheers, and become your own bank.